I sat at the defense table that morning, twisting the same red wool scarf I wore the night my parents abandoned me. Kevin and Karen, my biological parents, swear across the aisle, laughing with their attorney, as though they had already divided the $5.5 million they were suing to take from me. None of them recognized me until the bailiff called the judge's name, and we all rose. For a moment I wondered whether that meant I was unrecognizable or simply unimportant to them. When I was 5, in 1994, they left me at O'Hare's oversized baggage claim. I remember counting bags because someone told me to stay put and count. I counted until my voice went hoarse. They never came back. A man named William noticed. He didn't talk much. He just waited with me until airport security arrived, then foster services, then adoption. He wasn't heroic, just steady in a world that kept shifting under my feet. He became the person I built a life from. When William died, I learned he had been a quiet angel investor for decades. His estate totaled $5.5 million, and he left every dollar to me. The news made it public. 48 hours later, Kevin and Karen resurfaced, not to reconnect, not even to ask for forgiveness, but to sue. Their filing accused William of kidnapping me in 1994 and stealing the assets I inherited. They demanded the entire estate and his house, as if I were collateral attached to the furniture. I didn't respond to them as a daughter. I responded as someone who had spent years in courtrooms as an assistant clerk and, later, as counsel. I hired a forensic accountant to pull records from the year I disappeared. What emerged solved the mystery I had tiptoed around my entire life. My parents didn't simply abandon me. They monetized my loss. In 1995, they sued American Continental Airlines, claiming I vanished on an unaccompanied minor flight. There were no digital cameras in terminals then, no chain of custody for unaccompanied children, and the airline didn't want the scandal, so it settled for $450,000. To collect, my parents signed an affidavit declaring me deceased. On paper, I died at 5 years old, so they could pay off debts and start over. At trial, they performed grief. They talked about decades of searching, unanswered prayers, and the pain of not knowing. I let them perform. When their attorney finally rested, we called one witness, my younger sister, Megan, whom I had never met. She testified she grew up as the replacement, forever compared to the vanished child. She said, "Our parents used my death to grift sympathy and charity." Then she produced casino receipts from the weekend I disappeared. The same weekend, search teams combed the airport. My attorney entered the airline settlement agreement and the affidavit of my death into evidence. A quiet fell over the room, the dangerous kind. The judge asked the only question that mattered. If I truly died in 1995, then who was sitting in front of him? If I didn't die, then how did my parents collect a settlement? Either version meant fraud. The lawsuit collapsed. Dismissed with prejudice. Referred for criminal review. My parents lost not just the case, but the narrative they had survived on for 30 years. They also lost Megan. She walked out of the courthouse and did not go home. People assume the happy ending is the part where I kept the $5.5 million. But I didn't keep it. Not really. I used it to establish a foundation to provide legal support for youth aging out of foster care kids who, like me, had no reliable adult to choose them. Megan joined as a social worker. We are not sisters in the sentimental sense. We are collaborators in rebuilding what our parents broke for profit. Sometimes, I still wear the red scarf. It no longer feels like evidence. It feels like proof that what was discarded can be retrieved, restructured, and put back into circulation for better use than the people who let it go ever imagined.